Wow, what a beautiful day out here. Southern Chile in Patagonia. I'm on a lake. I woke up this morning just feeling so lucky. Lucky to be alive, lucky to be here, lucky to be living the life I'm living. I was also thinking about how lucky I was to make $164,000 in just 4 months. It was pretty crazy. From January to April this year, I made $164,000, and then I got laid off from my job in April. And when I tell people what happened, I was working for this company called Metaplane, and they got bought out by this bigger company called Datadog. It's publicly traded. It's worth about $50 billion. And I got about $100,000 between equity in the company that I had and some severance. And then the other, well over $60,000 was just from salary and commission that I earned. So when I tell people that, they're like, wow, you just got so lucky. And of course, there's always luck in all equations of success in life. But I've always found that luck in my life has come after hard work and after good decisions. Never before. Like, I never just wake up and someone prints me a check for $100,000. So there is luck, and I want to go through my past 5 years working in software sales and showing you where luck has came up in my life, and then you can decide if luck is the ultimate reason for me being 29 years old, $700,000 in a stock portfolio, 100% debt free, or if it was just a byproduct of everything else. So turning the time back to 2019, July 2019, I moved from Newburgh, Indiana in the United States all the way down to Buenos Aires right after I graduated university. And I wanted to learn Spanish. So I got a job in September of 2019 teaching Spanish at a local institute in the city. And then I devoted myself 3 days a week for a little over an hour each session to meeting up with a Spanish tutor, learning Spanish, and studying Spanish all throughout the week. And then in between, teaching English courses for like $10 an hour. I did that until March of 2021. And it was really tough because at some points I was living in a small, about like 600, 700 square foot apartment, no AC. It was like $400 a month. There was no heat. At another point, I had so little money, I had to ask my girlfriend, who's now my wife, if I could move in with her and her parents for a little bit while I just gathered my bearings. And eventually, I was so broke. Life was just not good for me financially, teaching English there for peanuts. I said, I'm either going to have to move back to the U.S. or I need to find a job online. So I started applying to a lot of sales jobs. And software sales just happened to have a lot of remote work opportunities. And so I applied to this company called Appcues. And I was interviewed by a guy named Ted, who was a senior sales leader on the team. And I ended up getting the job. He told me that there was over 100 applicants for this entry-level sales position, business development rep. And some of them had prior sales experience. Other ones just had a college degree. And he told me he hired me, even though I had no sales experience or anything, but that I just showed drive, motivation, inspiration, and energy. He was really impressed just about more of what I'd done coming out of college. He said everyone has a degree, but you've really differentiated yourself by chasing after some goals after college and moving abroad and showing perseverance, and he was really impressed by all that. So I got lucky to get that job. I hear that often, that I got lucky to get my foot in the door. I got this job making $60,000 a year. That was my salary. Got lucky getting this remote sales opportunity job. And that first year, I ended up making $90,000. There was uncapped commission, and I worked as much as I could, weekends even, to bring in new deals, build out my pipeline, learn how to sell better, learn how to sell our products better. So I ended up making $30,000 more than expected. And then my second year, I got promoted to an account executive for all my hard work, got an increase in pay, I got a bump in responsibilities, I increased my skill set, and Ted, the guy who hired me, left the company. So at the end of my second year, I increased my pay from $90,000 to a little over $100,000. But I wanted to go do something else. I was tired of working at that company, Appcues, and so I wanted to go work somewhere else. I started applying to other companies, and I always stayed in touch with Ted. And Ted moved on to be a director of sales at this startup company called Metaplane. And I was telling him, like, I'm looking around for other jobs, other opportunities. I want to do something else. And he was like, well, I know how hard you work. You've been promoted really fast. You still have drive. You still have energy. You're still motivated. You're hungry to get better at your career and bring in sales deals and earn the company money. We need a guy like you on the team. And so I was in between, seriously, a couple other jobs, other companies that I really liked. And I got to thinking, though, like, this company, Metaplane, was founded by an MIT graduate named Kevin. He seemed really bright. I met with him in interviews. And the sales leaders are, other than Ted, there was also other solutions engineers, leaders, and they all came from HubSpot, which was a $20 billion company. And they were early engineers at that company. So I knew these people knew their stuff. Got an MIT guy, got these HubSpot engineers. We were selling data, and if you know anything about data, or we're selling a product to manage data, if you know anything about data, everyone uses it. Government agencies use it, private businesses use it, public companies use it, from small to medium to large. So it was like, well, the world's really my oyster. I can sell this product to everybody. This is a great product. I'm not limited, like, I don't know, some healthcare company who's only limited healthcare industry. I could sell this to everybody. So I ultimately chose going with Metaplane after conscious decision-making, meeting with people at that company, deciding that I think these are intelligent, bright, capable people. We have a good future ahead of us. So in 2023, I became basically the founding BDR, the only BDR, business development rep, and there was a lot of promise of upward mobility that I could grow my career there. In that first year, I earned $111,000. And then the next year, I became the BDR manager. I hired on, did interviews, again, got more responsibilities, increased my skill set, became BDR manager, made $118,000, which that was in 2024, and that was the most I'd ever made in my life in a single year. So it was like I went from $90,000 to $118,000 just from 2021 to 2024. 2025, this year, is whenever Metaplane got acquired. And a lot of that was because we had built an awesome product. It was being adopted. We were able to sell it pretty easily. People wanted our product, and that was, one of the reasons I went there. Is I was like, well, the engineering team seems to build such a good product, it can just sell itself, and got so many people to buy it. And it turned out that what I saw, what everyone else saw on the team was right. I was employee number 11, and by the time we got bought out by Datadog, I think we only had about 30 employees, but we still grew the company, grew the revenues, got bought out. A little startup gets bought out by $1 billion company. Seems like the type of thing I only read about or hear about, but then it happens to me, and I was like, that was awesome. So I've been unemployed from a regular salary job since April this year. I made that $164,000 in 4 months. I moved down here to southern Chile, so I'm gonna take a break for a while. I don't know, maybe I'll go back to sales, maybe I won't. But that's what's got me to where I am today. Just, it always seems like I do hard work, and then after the hard work, the luck kind of follows. But you can be the judge of that. I just wanted to share my story, give my ideas. Be sure to hit that like button if you like this video, hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more.